this is the way. All right. Welcome to Unorganized Thought, the podcast where we have all sorts of celebrity appearances lately in our intros. The Mundalorian was here.
Yeah, with a U, not just.
I wasn't mispronouncing it.
No,
that was deliberate.
It's our brand safe version.
The off-brand version. But the Mandalorian wasn't here for no reason, because today we're going to be talking about the Mandalorian. Completely different property, you know. But yeah, it's been out for a little while now. It's been completed for a while.
It's been done for about a month, probably.
Yeah. But
maybe a little less, a little more. I don't know.
It could be either. Yeah. I haven't been paying too much
I have
attention.
No comprehension of time.
Yeah. But we have certain opinions on it, certain speculations we're gonna touch on, and so. Yeah, we finally got Quinn back. Let's do some introductions.
Long last.
Yeah,
I wasn't introduced last time.
Yeah, we got to make sure that we introduce everybody because we're the Akhtar brothers. I'm Aidan.
And I'm Kieran.
And I'm Quinn.
Yes, Quinn, at last. We've got our name tags somewhere around here.
You guys got name tags?
Yeah. Oh. Here, yours is right here. That's quality right there. But... But I think that the general consensus regarding the Mandalorian around here is just that pretty good stuff.
Yeah, I think the general
thumb up.
Consensus in general is that it thumbs up. There's only been a few outliers that I've seen
that are like
on the vast
Mandalorian is absolute
the
garbage.
Mandalorian is trash
for whatever reason.
There's going to be people like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And those. I hate to get Star Wars political
immediately.
But a lot of those people are the people that I've kind of seen as they're fully off of Star Wars at this point. With the Disney and they're almost that they don't really give it a chance.
Yeah.
Where it's if you're willing to give it a chance.
Well, I can sort of
show,
see that perspective if they just heard all of a sudden, there's a baby Yoda. Like if I had heard that without watching that, I probably would have gotten a little bit upset because it's Yoda is such a rare, the Yoda species is such a rare species, and then to have it be this cute thing that is clearly going to make millions in merchandising seems like a pretty Disney move to do, but it's handled well and it's interesting because it's there's no way there's only 2 Yoda creatures in the entire universe, you know, and so to introduce another one is not that far-fetched, and I think it's also interesting.
Distant from when those guys were incepted.
Yoda and Yaddle are the 2 that I'm referring to there.
The only 2 that we've seen in canon, at least.
Yeah.
You guys know more about Yodas than I do.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, that's kind of the only... I've seen few, but they are there, of people that aren't liking it, and I could be wrong of some of the reasons why they don't like it, and maybe they have other reasons, people are allowed to think and feel certain ways about things for their own reasons, but from what I've kind of gathered is it seems like some of that group is the people that are I hated insert whichever sequel you hated here. You hated that, and so now all of Star Wars is ruined for you, and anything that comes after that is bad and can't be good. And so it's pretty un-Grey Jedi way to look at it, but what are you gonna do?
There are, and I don't know, unpopular opinion incoming here, but certain of the tropes that some of the episodes follow I didn't feel were always the most original.
Yeah.
But sometimes the hero coming to a village and defending it, not that that's been done 1,000 times, going in with their old crew and being betrayed by their old crew.
Yeah.
Kind of it sort of followed these basic sort of tropes, and from that sense I kind of was a little bit,
stale.
It was a little bit stale because you've seen those story arcs so many times, but it's with characters that I like, and just because something isn't entirely new that doesn't mean that it's necessarily bad.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
like
And-
to do a new take with interesting characters on an old archetype. You know, like it's not my favorite thing, but the way that it develops the characters and gets to showcase these characters that we like, I accept it to a certain degree, but I also still, like, I have to be honest when I say, like, you know, there were times when it didn't feel like the most original thing.
Yeah, that's a fair point, I think,
it's definitely fair. And it's not really it's not really a great defense, but it's almost an explanation of sorts. It's just something you can say about that is that Star Wars has never been the most original property. Like, everything from the original trilogies, George Lucas stole
From
old
Japanese
from Japanese
movies.
things, or even just old fairy tale tropes.
Yeah,
You know,
it's true.
I will say, though, I did like that, both the Village and the Betrayal episodes.
Yeah.
Even though they're tropes, I think I still enjoyed them, so it's
Yeah,
forgivable,
exactly.
in my eyes, at least, anyways.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing is, in this modern world, how you can't, nothing is original.
Yeah.
Everything has been thought of before,
That's
and
true.
everything's been done. And so, as long as you can make something with your own spin, your own take on it, that's about the best as you can get. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that I'll just touch on a few things that I kind of wanted to touch on, and then as it progresses, you guys bring up whatever things you want to talk about.
Something else that we probably should say and probably should have said at the very beginning, and it's a bit late because
Spoilers. Sorry.
Spoiler alert.
Yikes.
Like, we've kind of basically said literally everything. Well, there's a couple things that we haven't spoiled yet, but if you haven't seen it, watch it. Like, I think we'd all recommend it.
Oh, yeah.
But then watch it, come back.
If
you don't care,
if we remember, we'll go back and put
I'll throw a spoiler
a
warning
verbal
or you-
spoiler warning. But yeah, sorry about that. If we spoiled the Mandalorian for you, but you know,
we'll throw something up.
yeah, okay. But one thing that I was really interested in was finally getting to see an IG unit in action.
Yeah.
IG.
Which is the IG-11, the tall,
Robot.
the bounty robot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so, like, I it's been a while since I've seen the Clone Wars, but you said that there was
and so
one.
I had remembered this, and I had just been recently watching the Clone Wars, and there was in an episode where Ahsoka and Anakin are trying to find R2-D2. They're on this kind of scrapper ship, and there are two, I think they call them assassin droids, but they look like IG units.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like all wiggly and flipping around, which kind of goes against what is shown in this one. And so I kind of was like, maybe just them being assassin droids is different. But then I kind of looked into it, and they were like IG 77 or something.
Yeah.
And so I was like, that's kind of
and so
strange.
like what I was interested to see with this is
I guess
just
a live action take.
Yeah, and like because I didn't remember that from the
neither
Clone
did I.
Wars.
It was kind of, I was reminded of it when I saw it. I was like, oh yeah.
And so I didn't remember that until you brought it up like a few weeks ago. But I was really interested because like in Empire Strikes Back, when Vader assembles all of the bounty hunters, you kind of assume that these guys are like the best of the best, and it kind of is later on expanded on a couple of those. Like Dengar and Bossk do a lot of work during the Clone Wars to kind of build up their reputations. Boba Fett is obviously doing kind of the same thing, and so you see this like refrigerator of a robot with like this ridiculous tall head, and he just like looks all clunky and his arms are all skinny. It's like, how could that thing possibly be a killer? It's just like this clunky robot. And so I was really interested to see how they were gonna actually showcase that a robot like this can be a very formidable enemy, because like you see that thing and it's like, who invited this guy to the bounty hunter party? Like, this guy clearly, like, probably couldn't even walk through the door because he hit his head on it. But, and then they showcase that, like, his head is so tall because it's got these rotating eye stalks to make him have, like, dead eye accuracy, and, like, he is moving kind of clunky and rotating and stuff, but
it's also efficient.
It's efficient,
highly efficient, like robotic looking,
exactly,
deadly precision.
And so it was kind of clunky, but in like a really effective and deadly way. And so I thought that was kind of interesting, because I always kind of you see IG-88 in Empire Strikes Back, and it's like, no, like
I don't think
this guy accidentally like got in. The maintenance droid came to see
like who else
what was going
there?
on.
Like
Zuckuss and 4 Loam or Loam 4, I always forget what the order is.
Yeah, like those guys
guy.
look kind of chumpy.
I mean, kind of, but like they're able to hold a gun. Like it looks like they had to tape the blaster to IG-88's hand. But yeah,
Also,
anyways, that was just something that I really was interested in, because like, that look never seemed dangerous to me, and they did it in a way that did service to the clunky look, but also made him this deadly like droid.
Yeah, I'm not nearly as familiar with like the droids as you guys are, but when I first saw the IG whatever number in the Mandalorian, I thought that guy looks really cool with like the choreography. They knew it wasn't human, so they just kind of leaned into it. I think there was one scene where like guys were behind him, and instead of turning around, his arm just like went behind him and his head swiveled. That was really cool.
All the fighting with IG-11 was really cool and awesome.
And that's something that was very new, you know. Like I don't know, me personally, I've never seen a fight sequence kind of like that where the robot moves in that way, and you know, I don't know. Maybe it has been done, but
the droids in Star Wars are kind of clunky and
lame. And so to see one move like efficiently, you know?
and like like I keep saying, it was a weird mix of clunky and efficiency, you know, because like battle droids, they like clomp along and then immediately get killed. So that's kind of just like mostly clunky, but like kind of basic fighting patterns. So it's almost an unorthodox kind of style, using like the various eye stalks and like, you know, aiming over here while like not really moving its head. It's just like the different sections of its head are moving. And I think that all of that sort of choreography was really interesting to see.
I really like that scene. I hoped he would come back after Mando shot him. Just because he was really cool. I'm glad he did. It surprised me. But I really like that droid.
Well, we knew that he was going to be voiced by Taika Waititi. And he's like one of our favorite filmmakers. And so like we kind of wondered if he was going to return. Because we were like, would you get Taika just for that one
But then
thing?
it was also at the same time as like, if you were asked to do anything in Star Wars,
exactly, even if it was just a once-off, he would have done it. And so we were sort of wondering like, oh, he was so good and he was funny, hopefully they bring that guy back.
And they did,
and then
for
they
a couple
did
minutes.
for a couple minutes until he exploded again. And I always thought it was funny because Mando was so sad. Like when he had to go and die, he's like, "Don't be upset." He's like, "I'm not. I'm not sad. You're droid." You could like hear the sadness in his voice. Like, no, don't. He's all upset.
Quick aside on that episode, like the last one I think it was that Taika directed. I kind of knew immediately just with that like opening scene with the two
guys.
troopers on the bike. I was like, this is kind of the Taika's style.
Where it's just two guys having an awkward like conversation.
Man, that was the worst.
It's so hard. He punches Baby Yoda so hard, and it's like, no. You deserve everything you get. But
and like things like that are just, I don't know, like as much as it was just kind of a weird aside conversation, I liked it, you know? Like it was like, it's different for Star Wars, you know? Like that's the kind of thing that I want to see. You know, and not just going to Tatooine over and over and over again. Although that episode was good, it's just like, I'm sick of desert planets, man. Get off the desert planets. You know?
Because like stormtroopers always are just kind of these mindless drones, and so like they do like a little bit of it with just kind of like light comedy in the sequel trilogy, where like Kylo Ren's having a fit, and so the stormtroopers just turn around and leave, and so they do a little bit of that, but to give them an actual voice and have them like
beat up a baby for a bit.
and be like these guys who clearly are just kind of like doing their job and trying to survive, but are like, I guess, kind of bad people for punching a baby. But Yeah.
That scene was also a really nice change of pace, just from like the standoff in the main story, I guess.
Well, yeah,
call
exactly.
Yeah.
It's just a good break.
Yeah.
That was a really good scene.
Yeah. I think that the what am I trying to say here? That like the whole Baby Yoda phenomenon, sometimes it like
is too much.
Is a little too much for me. Like, anytime I see a Baby Yoda meme, I'm like, the Baby Yoda.
Well, that's the natural human response.
Exactly, but
that.
it gets kind of overblown, like anything would.
Yeah, if it's weird, because I do know exactly what you're saying.
Because I like it anytime I see it,
exactly.
But then at the same time, I step back for a bit, and it's like, Baby Yoda really, like, kind of took off.
If I was, like, not... If this was something that I wasn't interested in, you know, like, if it wasn't The Mandalorian, if it was, like, I don't know, some random other spin-off kind of thing,
yeah,
where I'm seeing this thing that's just exploded, I know that it's one of those things that I would despise.
Yeah.
You know? It's like almost like the Porg thing, where Porgs were not nearly as much, but then they're just like marketing Porgs. You can get this and this and this. And I hate Porgs.
I hated Porgs the first time I saw
exactly.
Porg, man.
Well, the Porgs for me have always just been like
Vermin.
They should just have Hasbro written on them.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
But like I don't know, like it's kind of one of those weird things where it's like, I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
It's Baby
and see,
Yoda.
like, I was so hesitant to say anything.
Yeah, no.
Because, you know, like, I'm definitely a fan of Baby Yoda.
Yeah,
like,
I'm definitely for it.
I loved any scene with Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
And, like, we call him Baby Yoda. We know that it's not Yoda. We know that it's not the son of Yoda. But, you know, like, maybe, again, I mean, it could be. But, like, we know that this isn't the young version of Yoda. Yeah. Everyone says Baby Yoda, so we also say Baby Yoda. Yeah, like the child. We can call it the child, but Baby Yoda is just what it has become.
It's internet name.
It's pretty embarrassing. Actually, my dad had to tell me that. Like the third episode in, I had no idea.
Really?
I did not know what the timeline was.
Oh yeah, there you go. But yeah, so like, don't get offended by us calling it Baby Yoda. We know that it's not actually Yoda.
I know better now.
I don't. You better tell me. I have no clue. If you haven't gathered on this entire conversation yet, I definitely think that it's a child version of Yoda that is, like, not even, like, prequel age. Like, this is afterwards. He was old.
And then he became a baby.
That's absolutely what I believe.
What if the species works? They're like phoenixes.
Maybe.
Yoda died and turned into younger Yoda again.
This is post
Return of the Jedi.
This is post Empire, yeah. So Yoda would be dead.
Yeah.
But
and then
but
in that pile of blankets, Luke just forgot to. Luke just didn't do anything.
Like a phoenix, yeah.
There's just a little fetus like moving around in there, and he's just like, well, he's dead, I guess, and then he left.
But no, it can't be because you heard his voice,
and you see his ghost and everything.
Yeah.
Unless he like is reborn as a completely new person.
Yeah,
this is a weird theory, but like, yeah. And so like my whole take on the Baby Yoda phenomenon is, I guess if
I wasn't into it, I would hate it.
Yeah, I guess I can see.
It's so weird.
I guess I can see why some people might be annoyed with Baby Yoda. I don't know if anyone is.
I think some people.
But I'm on this weird line where like I love Baby Yoda, but I'm almost like, is it too much? Like, do people?
I think that's
overdo
the thing,
it.
is I think people do overdo it, but at the same time, I would lay it down on the wire for Baby Yoda, you know,
Yeah.
where it's like, I will die for this creature, but the internet exploded it a bit.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm a bit sick of the memes. Like it's just the same picture, and you can't help that's just, I feel personally, to me, I think that's just a scientific thing that humans are built to like things. That's why babies look a certain way. That's why people love puppies and stuff, because young things have giant eyes and a big head, and like, and you're just
can't walk.
Humans are like supposed to love those things, and it's an innate reaction. It's an innate reaction because it's so that the parents and whoever don't leave this helpless thing.
Yeah.
It's like you're built to love
You're
this
psychologically
thing. You're psychologically
inclined.
built to love this thing so that you keep it and take care of it.
Yeah.
And Baby Yoda is everything about that
like
to the extreme.
It's wrinkly.
It's
and
scientifically
like
the cutest thing ever.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why you like. But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of
within
the
like the context of the show. I really liked Baby Yoda, but like I watched it after I saw a bunch of memes, so I was already getting kind of tired of like the same picture.
And that's the thing. You
and,
have to watch The Mandalorian to like not get sick of them, because then you know what Baby Yoda actually is and is about, and it isn't this just
I could definitely
like
see
it
being
isn't
sick
this
of it
just merchandise.
picture.
You know, it's actually a good plot device and a good like driving force to the story. You know, it's not just the
millions it makes
plug.
on merchandise is just incidental.
Well, that's the thing is
I haven't seen a Baby Yoda like plush or toy
because
yet.
they haven't, and well, they're doing like a Build-A-Bear thing.
Like they missed Christmas. Like
they missed Christmas.
Why would you do that?
But see, the thing was, and I understand it completely, was because they held off on the merchandising to not spoil his reveal. But by doing that, I saw an article where they lost millions of dollars. They lost potential millions of dollars on merchandising. Like, had they done it, it would have been so much money that they would have made. Yeah. But they just didn't. They didn't do it. Like, what they should have done was have it produced and ready. Yeah. Like, can you guys not keep it under wraps? You know, like in your own camp. Yeah. Like. What they should have done is mass produce it, have it ready, and then as soon as like Christmas
open the
time
floodgates.
Exactly. Yeah, like.
But I mean, at the same time, kudos to them for not doing that.
Yeah, and that's true. I absolutely appreciate that.
Adds quality to Baby Yoda because it wasn't just a merchandising plug, you know, necessarily yet. You know, and so I appreciate that,
and it
to an extent.
It does kind of make you worry, though. It kind of makes you worry as, like, now that they've seen the response to it.
Are they going to ruin it in the next season?
Will it ruin it in the next season? Is, like, it makes me almost feel like, I think this is something you've said, Aidan, is that he's almost guaranteed to be safe now because they wouldn't dare lay a hand on him.
Yeah.
Well, see, a theory I had was that after they introduced this idea of like force healing, which also was in, did you see the new movie yet?
No.
Okay, let's not talk about the new movie yet.
In The
Mandalorian, he uses this force healing ability, which was like, it's kind of established in the lore. We haven't really seen it on a cinematic scale yet.
I saw a theory that someone had pointed out is that they think that Obi-Wan used it in A New Hope. When Luke gets knocked out by the Sand People, he puts his hand on his head.
Yeah, and kind of wakes him up.
Yeah, and Luke is like, he has no headache or anything.
Who does that? Gandalf does that all the time. He does it like twice to Thorin in The Hobbit.
Well, that's not real.
Well, I mean, it doesn't really count because it's The Hobbit. But he just like goes over, like touches his face, whispers some stuff, and then he wakes up. He does it to him like a couple times.
It would have been useful for Faramir, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, and so that's just kind of an example of where people think we may have seen it in the universe.
But anyways, my theory was that like they were gonna kill Baby Yoda at the end, that he was gonna overexert himself
at least even coming
to save Mando.
Yeah.
That theory ended up proving true, like kind of elsewhere, but not in The Mandalorian, and they didn't end up doing that. And like. It still could be an eventual possibility, but the fact that it happened elsewhere makes me think that they're probably not going to do that.
Yeah, and a big theory, I don't know, we're kind of just into theory world now, but
yeah, this is what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, this is kind of what me and Aidan have thought, is that Mando says that he's going to take Baby Yoda to his people, right? And as we know, that Yodas aren't a common people, but he thinks that there's... he says they talk about this warrior people, race.
Yeah, the enemy race of wizards.
Yeah, these wizards, these Jedi. And so, looking at the timeline, where they are, Luke is probably training his new Jedi Order at this point.
Yeah.
And so, for Mando to take the baby there would be like, that would be crazy.
Yeah.
And and now the Darksaber's in play, and so if Mando or the child has that as a lightsaber now, that would be insane. But I get really excited at the thought of him maybe trying to take it to Luke.
Yeah, and well, I think that if that's the plan going forwards, is to reunite this child with the enemy sorcerers, with his people, and there's about to be this colony of Jedi reintroduced.
Yeah.
That seems like it's going to be the plan. Will it actually be where it actually ends up going? Because in the canon of the movies, Kylo Ren kills all the Jedi. And so, supposedly,
as far as we know.
And so, like, if that's the case, it's possible that if our theory is correct, that Baby Yoda ends up with Luke and then gets slaughtered in the second Jedi Purge.
Yeah, exactly. Another thing is maybe he goes off on his own before that.
Yeah, or maybe Mando never gets him there.
The thing,
you know, in the second season, maybe he's trying to find Luke. Maybe he finds Luke. Like, how awesome would it be to get Mark Hamill youngify him a little bit and have, like, I don't know, some sort of a disagreement or a falling out or an interaction of some sort, you know? Yeah. And who knows, maybe he'll never get to that point of the Jedi Order, but I think that you said that Filoni was maybe going to be making
he said that, well, yeah, two things is that I think I may have mentioned this on the
podcast
on the last
already.
podcast, is that Filoni's planning to make a new Jedi Order TV show and animated show with Luke and like that whole thing, which I'm super excited about if that's true. But then another thing he said was that he is planning on incorporating main series guys into the next season
of The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so that also makes me think that he'll be in it.
Luke might be there because that seems to be the plan.
Yeah.
Is to get Baby Yoda to the Jedi. The Jedi at this point is Luke and his new order, and so that's the plan. At least I'm sure that's going to be what the goal is. Whether or not it's executed, though,
it's going to be the current
executed.
It's 66.
It's the MacGuffin.
Yeah. Well,
but it's not because there's actually
a purpose to it,
but who knows?
Who knows? But yeah.
I think it's pretty safe to say that Baby Yoda isn't going to die during the show, though. Because, like, aside from merchandising, it'd have to go pretty dark to kill a baby, I think.
Yeah, so that's why I think the only way they might do it is if he, like, kind of Force Ghost fades out trying to heal Mando, maybe.
Yeah.
That would be, like, the most extreme I could see it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, if there's ever a shootout or anything, I think he's safe.
Yeah. But like during this whole series, anytime like I was worried. I was genuinely worried because I was like, I don't know what they might do, you know? Like I have no idea what they're capable of. Like I wasn't sure if they'd kill a baby, but at the same time I was like, I mean, like Revenge of the Sith, like he just straight up killed a bunch of babies, you know?
A firefighter, a stray laser just killed Baby Yoda.
Yeah, and I saw like a meme, the most cursed image in Star Wars history was when the crosshairs were trained on Baby Yoda's face. He's just sitting there, and it's like, no! You know, anytime, and everyone's always dropping him and like punching him and stuff, and it's like, come on, this is a baby. Like, that's not how you treat a baby.
I think he must be more formed than like a human baby.
Yeah.
He's
a solid unit.
Yeah, he's just very hard.
Well, he's 50 years old. Like, he's had that much time to establish. And I wonder because if you look at it, Yoda is 900 years old.
They must have a prolonged
infancy, and so maybe he's gonna start to grow up really fast. You know, in the next season, he might start to talk and stuff.
Yeah,
I think that awesome. Man, I've pictured that whether it's Baby Yoda's death or Mando's death, the final words spoken will be like, "Love you." I do. And then he'll die, and then Mando will explode or whatever, because it'll be like his first words. And it'll be all reversed, and it'll be like so endearing because it's like, oh man, Yoda's talk like that. That's so adorable.
Well, that's the thing is though.
Oh no, it'll be a switcheroo. My father, you are.
Yeah.
And then Mando will explode.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sad. No.
But then,
it's making me sad. It's not even real.
We never saw Yaddle speak.
So
just what I'm getting at with that is, do we know that Yoda just doesn't have a speech impediment?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It could be.
I don't think that I think that if he does speak, he will have mannerisms like that, but it is kind of just a funny thing to think about.
Maybe
Yoda just started talking like that when he turned 700 to sound wiser.
Yeah. He hit his head one day. Yoda, are you okay? Okay, I am.
Yoda, are you sure you're all right? Problem. What is?
Nothing's wrong.
A problem there is. And nobody ever said anything. Or maybe he just started doing it to mess with people.
Yeah, and no one
ever called him on it. Yeah, but
that's definitely original trilogy Yoda right there. Just pranking.
Yeah.
Just trying to make a joke on the Jedi Council.
Yeah.
I started talking like this and no one ever said anything, so I kept going.
Yeah.
Now it's stuck.
Yeah. I did a little tiny bit of research, not very much, into Yaddle.
Okay.
And so, and
is
again,
Yaddle a girl?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I don't know if I switched properly between canon and legends.
Probably not.
And so I don't know if any of this is canon or if it's all legends or some of it's
really
canon.
Who knows anymore?
And so Yaddle's story, her title is like the one below or like the one beneath or something, because she got like she was when she was a Padawan, her master got killed in like this war conflict, and she was like enslaved underground for like 60 years or something. And it was like, Jesus Christ.
Not very much in their lifespan though.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a whole infancy.
It's true. It like, but still, that's like a long time. Like, time is time. That's a long time. And so eventually she was either able to escape or she was freed. And she like was immediately made a Jedi Master for her like
suffering.
Because she had such ample opportunity. I think the person was torturing her and trying to turn her to the dark side, and she just resisted it the whole time. And so they were like, "Yeah, you're a master now. Like you did it. You're good." And so, like, apparently she was just kind of like this strict kind of old lady figure, and Padawans loved her because she would always give them sweets. I think that's something that I read. Maybe I made it up, but I'm pretty sure the Padawans liked her especially because she was known to sneak them sweets and stuff. And then she eventually died because Anakin was like too hasty or made like a stupid mistake.
What?
And so like it was Anakin's fault that she died or something. This like legendary master. There was like something to do with like a missile maybe or something.
But that sounds more like it might be Legends territory.
Yeah, and so I don't know. But I
wouldn't put it past them.
She died between Phantom Menace and Clone Wars, I think.
Oh,
so it was during Anakin's like Padawan training. Maybe it was. I'm pretty sure it was Phantom Menace and Clone Wars because you see her in Phantom Menace and not in the Clone Wars on the council.
Oh yeah, she wasn't like there was no adventures in the Clone Wars.
Yeah. And so when Anakin was a Padawan, he like made some hasty decision, rushed into battle or whatever, and Yaddle paid with her life.
Oh my God.
And so the theory that maybe Baby Yoda is the child of Yaddle and Yoda, unless the gestation period of the Yoda creature is not only within the male but also like a really long time, then like it's probably not related to either of those two.
Yeah, because if she died then and Baby Yoda's 50,
I don't think that quite lines up.
No.
So, you know, I don't think that this Yoda is directly related to either of those two. Maybe all the Yodas are related somehow because they live so long and there are so few of them. But
and that's something we've seen that we know is a Jedi rule, is if you're like an endangered species.
That you're allowed to
repopulate.
And that's the thing. That was sort of the crux of my idea with that theory, is that Ki-Adi Mundi, his species is so rare that he's allowed to have a wife and have kids because he's like an endangered species. And so the same rule would apply to Yoda because there's so few of them.
Probably even
but
less.
At the same time, maybe there isn't even few of them because Yoda is just so secretive about his species. People like always ask him and he's like, nope. and then like walks away. I can only assume, because like maybe he's trying to protect his species because they're so force sensitive and so precious that they need to be held sacred, and so like I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of
maybe there's like a million of them, but he just refuses to divulge that information because maybe he knows that the Jedi Order would just harvest them like pigs.
Yeah.
Because it seems like all of them, like all 3 Yoda creatures that we've seen, have been force sensitive. There were 2 other ones in Legends that were also force sensitive, I think. 2 or 3. And so
that's
like
no longer canon.
That's no longer canon. And so there's 3 in canon
and
that we see, and they're all force sensitive.
Yeah.
And like this one's a baby and has like the
Rhinoceros
most
the
rhinoceros lifting power, and one of the most advanced
healing
techniques ever, which is healing.
Yeah.
And so like for a baby to be able to do that, that's pretty intense force power.
Yeah. The other thing I was gonna say is that the other way that I think they might appear is just kind of through the will of the Force. Is Baby Yodas might just kind of spring out of
holes in the ground.
Yeah, they might just kind of spring out, you know.
Yeah, could be.
Which is something.
And then they don't have a home planet. They just are pure beings of the Force, and they just sort of exist
kind of there
on any planet.
Yeah, because like how did the child get there in the first place? That's a pretty big question.
I wonder if those Niktos were protecting it.
Him. Yeah.
And I feel kind of bad because like maybe they were just bounty hunters, but they seem to have had like quite the stronghold there that they might have just been trying to protect this baby that they found, or like maybe they're this order of defenders.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
So I mean, every single one was willing to die
to protect it.
Yeah.
It's just the
or to protect their
the baby
bounty,
walked in and went like that, and they're all like, "We will defend you,
yeah.
master."
Yeah. But who knows? They kind of teased a little bit about like having to deal with having to train Baby Yoda to use the Force in a morally good way.
Yeah.
Like the baby just misinterpreted the arm wrestling scenario and started to try and kill Cara Dune.
Yeah.
And it was like, well,
stop.
It's going to be a challenge to have to deal with an undeveloped mind with that much power. Because like throwing a temper tantrum, I bet will be like an episode in the future where Mando says like, no, you can't play with the little ball on the steering wheel, and then just like crushes the whole ship, or like
just crushes Mando's helmet.
Yeah. You know,
that would be. I could see that being a scene. Kind of just like where he's like,
episode.
stop.
Yeah.
Where it's just kind of squeezing him,
and he has to like sing a song to calm it down. Baby mine, don't you cry. Yeah. And so that's kind of a cool plot thread that I think that they're gonna be tugging on in the future. Do you guys have any other thoughts? We're kind of at a good time if we want to.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to. I don't know. I liked how it looked, the whole series.
Yeah, they did lots of practical stuff,
and I really liked that. Yeah. And like even like, I don't know, like the miniatures and stuff. Mm-hmm. I think all looked really good because they did a lot for the ships and stuff like that. And like, I don't know, like even times when it's like, there's something weird about the shot you're looking at. Even though there was something kind of weird about it, everything looked good and real always, I thought.
Sometimes there were a few shots, like with the blurgs, that switching from practical to CGI looked a little bit weird. Yeah. Some of the CGI was just like maybe just a tiny bit off, but you know that's to be expected, and it's fine. You know, like especially to see how much they did practically. And considering how much they did practically, like I give it a pass because like they made like big blurg like puppets, and Baby Yoda for the most part was a puppet, and so like
and then also I liked in the village defense episode, like. Because that was kind of something that I really wanted, and like we got a bit of in Rogue One.
But there was
just
that
scene that they cut. Level, and that scene that they cut is that kind of ground level soldier almost, where like you see the menace that is the which one? That's an AT.
That was an AT-ST.
ST, yeah. And so like you see like how deadly that thing is, and like we don't have speeders and things that we can take it out with. So we're digging a hole. Or,
Exactly.
like, I don't know. I really like that. And you just kind of see it through the trees was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Because those things, the way that they handled them in most of the movies, they never seemed all that super formidable because there was always like
Ewoks taking it out.
Ewoks with giant traps to destroy it, or like Jedi to come and jump in and just like carve a hole in it or whatever. But to show that these are actually like enormous and dangerous like machines, that's why that one shot from the trailer of Rogue One, it's not only an ATST, it's an AT-AT. So the big walker
And they're just
on the
running.
beach, and they're running, trying to avoid these enormous blasts that it's making. And I really wanted to see that scene because it finally like shows that these things aren't just these like clunky walkers that if you tie up their legs they'll fall over and explode. You know, and so this was sort of a dialed down version of that scene that we wanted because like it is just an ATST, but like it shows it as actually this towering like destructive machine, which it would be if you think about what that is. It definitely would be a very dangerous machine to contend with.
Yeah.
And then the only other thing I want to talk about is just that there's live action Darksaber now.
Yeah, the Darksaber. Are
I'm
you
not
familiar with the
that,
Darksaber?
no.
So it's sort of this relic of like Mandalore, or like maybe not even Mandalore. I don't know. Lisa explained it to me, but I don't remember.
Shout out first comment.
Yeah, shout out first comment, Lisa. Thank you, my dear. But
Now we got him flustered.
yeah, you got me all flustered.
You're exposed. But yeah, like the first time I think we see it in the timeline of Star Wars is like Pre-Vizsla has it.
Right.
And it's the Death Watch.
Who's that?
So he's hey, and that's another
Which
thing
is another thing,
that we picked up on right away is that the Mandalorians that save Mando are
Death
the
Watch.
Death Watch, which are this sort of elite force
Terrorist group.
from Mandalore, which is the home planet of the Mandalorians.
And they kind of lived on the moon because they were exiled.
They lived on the moon. But yeah, and so like
he had it.
And then he got iced by Darth Maul.
Think he killed him.
Did he just exile him?
He beat him up, and then maybe
back to the moon with you.
Maybe he killed him. I don't remember if he killed him or not. I know he beat him in combat, but I kind of think he just left him on the stairs. But then he took it, and now he has it.
And so Darth Maul took it back to Dathomir and left it there.
Did he?
Yeah. And then while he was off adventuring, Dathomir is this like dark planet.
That's where all the Darth
Maul people live, and
that makes sense.
The Night Sisters and stuff, which are these sort of witches in the Force, which are like kind of cool and mysterious.
Did he? Because I'm pretty sure he has it. I've just seen a still for the new season of Clone Wars.
Okay,
which is a siege. Which is the siege on Mandalore.
Okay.
Which I'm super excited about. But I think he has it
on.
and his lightsaber, and I think he's fighting Ahsoka.
Oh, I shouldn't have been wiggling the table there. So, he had it probably for that whole part, but he did end up leaving it on Mandalore because Sabine
you just said he
it.
took it to Dathomir.
Or Dathomir, I mean. He took it back to Dathomir, left it there.
I thought he left it on Mandalore.
No, he left it on Dathomir. Because Sabine finds it there, I think, in
Rebels.
I didn't watch Rebels.
I'm trying.
This is secondhand information, so don't get mad at me. He left it on Dathomir, and then Sabine found it. Okay. She's sort of like this...
It must be during Rebels, because I'm watching the beginning, and she doesn't have it.
Yeah, and so... They go to Dathomir, she finds that, she's like, oh, damn, I know what this is the Darksaber.
Yeah.
Because she's from Mandalore, she's like an exiled Mandalorian or whatever. So she goes back to Mandalore and is like, I'm not worthy of this, someone else should take it, to try and like, get back in the good books of the Mandalorians, because she feels that she's not worthy for it. And so, did Duchess Satine have a sister?
Yes.
Was she like kind of a badass lady?
Yes.
She got it.
Okay, yeah, I think I knew that.
So she gave it to her, and then that's the last time you saw it in Rebels.
And so then
then there was another purge on Mandalore.
There was another one.
Yeah.
So like the third at this point?
Yeah, it would seem, because Darth Maul took it over, and then there was like another one.
Well, because that's like 4 that, because like their planet is destroyed. They live in like this bubble, and so then Death Watch was trying to take it over.
Well, because
Darth Maul helped them take it over. Then in the new season of Clone Wars, there's another siege, and so then
so this is all I know, is that the Great Purge that they refer to in
Mandalorian.
in the Mandalorian, I think happened after like Rebels.
Okay.
Because that Moff Gideon guy must have raided Mandalore and taken the Darksaber from the Satine sister.
Here's the problem.
Quinn's like, what is going on here?
Here's the problem is that we see in Rogue One that the Empire had it. And
Rogue One is before A New Hope.
Before Rebels. Maybe? No. Rebels might be before...
No, but... Oh my god. Rogue One is like immediately before A New Hope. So Rebels has to be before...
Yeah.
Before Rogue One.
And so that
could have just been an Easter egg, though. So what we're referring to is...
No, but that works. Right? Because if after Rebels, they take it to Mandalore, Purge on...
No, yes. That works. Okay. Works.
So the Purge on Mandalore must be around A New Hope.
Okay, so here's our supposed timeline. Darksaber in the hands of Pre Vizsla.
Maul,
then Darth Maul takes it from him. He leaves it on Dathomir. Sabine finds it, brings it back to Mandalore, gives it to Duchess Satine's sister. Do you remember her name?
No.
Okay, gives it to Duchess Satine's sister. Then there is another Purge on Mandalore in which the Empire this time invades and tries to take control. It seems they succeeded because the Satine sister loses the control of the Darksaber and possibly also her life. From there is mention of the Darksaber in Rogue One of the data files is called Darksaber. So like I think K2SO or Cassian is reading through, he's like Flibbity Gibbet, Darksaber, Starlight or whatever was the one that ended up queuing her in. And so that could have been just a data file, or it could have been the actual Darksaber that Moff Gideon took to Scarif, left it there, and then maybe brought it out because he's like, hey, I want this thing. This is pretty awesome. And so Moff Gideon mounted a Purge on Mandalore. It's probably won because he has the Darksaber and the Empire now has most of the Beskar, or at least the broken parts of the Empire, which is what he is because it's after the destruction of the Death Star. And so, if that makes any sense, that's what we think happened to the Darksaber and how Moff Gideon now has it. It's changed hands so many times.
Yeah, let us know if you know actually how
the guy who has it in the Mandalorian has it.
Yes.
Yep. That's the takeaway. The guy who we see has it does indeed have it.
Gotcha. Yeah. I can follow that.
Yeah, but
and so I'm interested to see where it goes next.
I'm scared to ask, but like, is the Darksaber a lightsaber or what is it? Like, should I have hopped down that rabbit hole?
It's something.
It's a lightsaber.
It's a lightsaber, but who knows what the Kyber crystal is?
I don't know.
I don't know enough about this. We should really have read up on this.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know that there. I think there's a Kyber crystal. There are black Kyber crystals somewhere.
Those are like the lightsaber juice things, right?
Yes. Yeah. Lightsaber juice, baby. Concentrated lightsaber juice. Can I get you some Kyber? Yeah.
Yeah.
But, so that's our, like, without having seen Rebels, without me having seen Clone Wars in a long time, that's our possible timeline for how Gideon got it.
I'll update it if I ever get through Rebels.
Because, like, it seems that the Great Purge that they're referring to in The Mandalorian was when the Empire attacked Mandalore and tried to take control.
Because that seems like it's the final purge.
Yeah, and that seems like what happened because the Mandalorians
now live in hiding.
Yeah, they live in hiding. That one guy had all the Beskar he had enough Beskar to pay him, and the Forge Master said, like, this was lost during the Great Purge. And so it seems like Mandalore lost everything in this last purge, probably led by Moff Gideon, and then maybe using the resources that he kept from the purge. That's how him and his branch of the Empire were able to survive.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, it could be. And then, yeah, the only other thing that we were going to say is just that we noticed that Din Djarin was saved by Death Watch.
Yeah.
Which we said briefly, but that was just kind of a thing.
And that was probably during the end of the Clone Wars.
Yeah,
because there's battle droids, and if you look at the timeline, that probably
lines up close
enough.
Yeah.
That, like, because if you think about, Luke was born right at the end of the Clone Wars, and he's like 19, 16,
18, 19
by A New Hope, and so if Mando, aka Din Djarin,
was
a child at that time, then after Return of the Jedi, he's probably in like his 30s or something. Yeah, so that's where we've placed that, and that makes sense because the Death Watch would have been running around during the Clone Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
So those are some far-fetched things that we've noticed. So probably should have mentioned this, but the Mandalorian, if you don't know, falls after Return of the Jedi. So the Empire is supposedly supposed to be gone. As we can see, there are still sort of splinter factions that are still
Which
operating.
Is interesting. I like.
Yeah, it's kind of
and
cool
it makes
idea.
You wonder if those splinter factions continue to become the First Order.
Yeah. But this Moff Gideon guy, he seems like a very interesting enemy, and he seems like he's probably going to be pretty good hand-to-hand fighter on his own.
Yeah.
If he himself claimed the Darksaber, maybe it's just a trophy, but for him to actually be wielding it, I think that he's actually going to be a formidable enemy, and Mando's probably going to fight him with a Beskar blade or something, because Beskar is one of the strong metals that can actually withstand a lightsaber.
Which the Darksaber is maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Which it acts a lot like one.
Yeah.
I think that it is a variety of lightsaber.
Well, I think so too, because you see it fight lightsabers.
Yeah, and I don't
saber in the name.
Yeah, and I don't know what the lore is behind a black kyber crystal, because red ones are bleeding kyber crystals.
Now, supposedly. I think that's changed from what it was in Legends.
Yeah, I don't know. And white ones are purified bleeding crystals. And so maybe dark ones are blackified, purified bleeding crystals.
I don't even know.
Who knows, man? But
and there's only one.
Else and it seems like there's only the one. Did you have anything else you wanted to touch on?
Mine is a total divergence from your guys' point. I liked that the Mandalorian went until the last episode without mentioning Jedi or lightsabers or anything. It was kind of its own self-contained story. It felt like, the Star Wars universe, but a smaller focus. The world, the universe or the galaxy wasn't at stake. Just a guy and his kid going on adventures. I like that aspect.
I definitely like that too.
That was really good, and it felt like Star Wars again. In a lot of ways with our if you've seen any other episodes, you know that our opinions on The Last Jedi are not very positive, and so and even with that, we liked The Force Awakens, but it's still it wasn't quite.
It was just different.
It was different. Just like the prequels are different from the original trilogy, this felt very original trilogy.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, maybe just with the practical effects that they did, or just sort of the settings and the pacing and the like we said, sort of kind of basic tropes. Maybe that was part of it too, but it felt kind of refreshing in that it was just kind of this is Star Wars. It's not part of this world-ending saga. It's just this self-contained thing that happens in this cool universe.
Yeah, and I definitely like that it was self-contained in itself. But that's kind of my only other thing, is that for Star Wars going forward, I'm happy with The Mandalorian. It's continuing its own world, and I like that. But for the other things, whatever they're doing, the only other thing in this weird 70-year period from Phantom Menace to Rise of Skywalker. The only other thing I want shoved in there anymore is the Obi-Wan show. And maybe that Luke show if they do it. That's it. Yeah. No more news stories in that time period. Because
go
there
further
is
back,
so much.
Go further forward.
Exactly. And also, go somewhere else. There's we have this whole galaxy to explore, and we just don't.
Yeah,
you know?
We just stay. We
stay on the same four planets.
Yeah, we make movies every 20 years, then fill in those gaps between the times that we make those, you know? And then like it just creates this sort of like monotonous thing. That's one of the things with this new trilogy is it's just pointless because it didn't add anything new. It's not better than Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And so like it just is like great, another ending, you know?
Yeah. Just leave it, we'll end.
Okay, sure. Well, then we'll go to the wide. Any last thoughts, Quinn?
It's good. I liked it.
It's good. We liked it. It definitely got our kind of theorist gears turning, and you know, just like pretty solid show, very entertaining to watch. Yeah.
We'll watch more.
Yeah, we'll watch more. And so we're trying to think of some sort of a sign off so that we don't like just drone on. Yeah, Kieran once made a spectacular speech flub where he couldn't say satisfying and he couldn't say conclusions. So he ended up saying like satisfying conclusions. So I don't know, we could just say that's the conclusion.
I like that.
Sure. Let's just go with that.
You're supposed to tell them to like the video.
How about you tell them?
I don't want to. I don't like telling
Okay,
them.
well, if you like the video, like the video.
And comment. We have one or two-ish kind of whole comments. One that we know for a fact is from a human being. The other one we think might be a robot. But more comments would be cool. We're hoping to bring some more shows.
Yeah.
Soon. I know we've kind of been saying that for the last couple podcasts, but we're working on it.
I'll hopefully make more than one a month or whatever it's been.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah. Anyways, subscribe, ring that bell. We're not gonna clog up your subscription feed too much, I don't think.
Which is why it's important to ring the bell.
Exactly.
So that you know.
know.
For the one time that we upload.
I don't ring any bell on any channel.
No, me neither. I don't honestly.
I did it. I did it for a couple channels.
Did you do it for our channel?
No.
You hypocrite.
Yo!
But yeah, we like any support, and where I was going with that kind of plug for new shows is just that they'll be shorter things, and so
yeah, because these are long. We need to say this at the beginning because nobody's here right now
anymore. And so if you're here, thank you for one.
And yeah, we know it was kind of a bit of a trudge, like sitting through a video this long. So we're working on shortening things down or making completely different things that are shorter.
Probably both.
Yeah.
And so hopefully we'll say this at the beginning of the next one, but look forward to that. It'll be it'll be a lot more fast paced. It'll be shorter videos, more consumable. Hopefully that you'll be able to share with all your friends.
Yeah. Like, comment, and subscribe. Conclusion.
That's the end.